Hidden in the middle of the California desert is a place that became one of Hollywood's favorite escapes. Palm Springs looked peaceful on the outside, but behind its luxury homes, private parties, and desert resorts was a world filled with secrets, scandals, romances, and some of the biggest names in entertainment history. Palm Springs was close enough to Hollywood to be convenient, but far enough away to offer celebrities something they desperately wanted: privacy. At the time, Hollywood had an unofficial rule that stars needed to live within about 2 hours of their movie sets while working on a production. Palm Springs was the perfect location. And when you put Hollywood's biggest stars in one desert oasis, stories were bound to happen. Some disappeared without a trace. Others became legendary. One of the biggest names connected to Palm Springs was Frank Sinatra. Sinatra wasn't just a famous singer and actor. He was one of the city's biggest social figures. His Palm Springs parties attracted celebrities like Bing Crosby, Cary Grant, Marilyn Monroe, and even President John F. Kennedy. And Sinatra had a unique way of letting people know when a party was happening. According to legend, a Jack Daniels flag raised outside his home was the signal. If the flag was up, the party was on. But Sinatra's parties weren't the only source of gossip. One of the most talked about stories involved Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. After Bogart was diagnosed with lung cancer and given a limited amount of time to live, rumors began spreading that Bacall had become involved with Sinatra. The relationship was reportedly kept private, but some people close to them allegedly knew about it. After Bogart's death, Bacall and Sinatra were seen together more openly, bringing even more attention to the old rumors. But Palm Springs had been connected to Hollywood scandals long before Sinatra arrived. In the 1920s, Rudolph Valentino was one of the biggest stars in the world. He became a legendary heartthrob thanks to movies like The Sheik and The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, but his perfect Hollywood image was nearly destroyed by a legal problem. In 1922, Valentino married costume and set designer Natasha Rambova. There was just one problem. California law required people to wait more than a year after a divorce before getting married again. Valentino hadn't waited long enough. Suddenly, the famous movie star was facing a charge of bigamy. During their honeymoon, Valentino and Rambova stayed at a hotel in Palm Springs. When the case went to court, the hotel's owner, Florilla White, testified that the couple had actually slept in separate beds. That testimony helped Valentino, and he was eventually acquitted. A year later, the couple officially married in Paris. Then came another Hollywood legend, Elvis Presley. Elvis and Priscilla traveled to Palm Springs and rented a house that would later become known as the Honeymoon Hideaway. They reportedly rented it for an entire year for around $21,000. They were hoping for privacy. They didn't get it. Gossip reporter Rona Barrett discovered where the couple was staying, and the news quickly spread. Soon, reporters and photographers were heading straight for Palm Springs. That's when Frank Sinatra stepped in. Sinatra offered his private plane and flew Elvis and Priscilla to Las Vegas, where they got married. Afterward, they returned to Palm Springs and spent their honeymoon at the house. According to reports, their daughter Lisa Marie Presley was conceived during this period. But Elvis wasn't the only famous visitor connected to Palm Springs. The Kennedy family had a long relationship with the city, and President John F. Kennedy was one of its most famous visitors. He reportedly spent plenty of time in the area and was also linked to another legendary Palm Springs figure, Marilyn Monroe. The Kennedy connection wasn't limited to Hollywood either. JFK's father, Joseph Kennedy, had connections with organized crime figures, including Sam Giancana, who was also known to spend time in Palm Springs. And then there was Marilyn Monroe. She wasn't simply another celebrity in Palm Springs. She became one of the city's most recognizable icons. Her fame eventually inspired a gigantic statue called Forever Marilyn. The statue stands about 26 feet tall and weighs around 34,000 pounds. It recreates Monroe's famous pose from the 7-Year Itch. Monroe reportedly spent time living in Palm Springs' movie colony neighborhood with baseball legend Joe DiMaggio. Later in her life, she was also linked to JFK and reportedly stayed in a secluded pink bungalow. But Palm Springs wasn't just a playground for grown-up celebrities. Even Hollywood's biggest child stars spent time there. One of them was Shirley Temple. While working in Hollywood, Temple lived in Palm Springs with her wealthy family. She became friends with many of the children from other wealthy families in the area and even celebrated her birthday at the Desert Inn. The hotel's owner, Nellie Kaufman, became such a fan of Shirley that she eventually dedicated a bungalow to the young actress. During a public ceremony covered by the press, the 9-year-old Shirley Temple raised a bottle of milk and officially christened it the Shirley Temple Bungalow. And yes, that's probably one of the few Palm Springs celebrations that didn't involve Sinatra's famous Jack Daniels flag. Another major figure who eventually made Palm Springs his home was Sonny Bono. After becoming successful in music and television, Bono settled in the city. He opened a restaurant, launched a tennis club, and eventually entered politics. He once joked that he originally moved to Palm Springs planning to semi-retire. Instead, he became busier than ever. In 1988, Bono was elected mayor of Palm Springs. Years later, he became a member of the United States House of Representatives. But one of his biggest contributions to Palm Springs was his role in creating the Palm Springs International Film Festival. The festival quickly became an important stop on the road to Hollywood's awards season. It attracted major actors, directors, and filmmakers. And its reputation became so strong that winning there was sometimes seen as a sign that an Oscar could be coming next. Then there was Dinah Shore. During the 1970s, the singer and actress became an important figure in Palm Springs for a completely different reason. Shore became a major supporter of women's golf. She helped promote successful tournaments and supported the Ladies Professional Golf Association, better known as the LPGA. Her influence continued even after her death through events connected to women's professional golf. Her name was also attached to the Dinah Shore Weekend, which eventually became one of the largest lesbian festivals in the world. It became a celebration of women, community, and LGBTQ+ rights, while also honoring Shore's legacy. And these stories are only the beginning. Palm Springs was never just a quiet desert resort. It was a meeting place for Hollywood royalty, a place where movie stars could escape the cameras, where politicians could disappear for a while, where secret relationships could begin, and where legendary parties could continue until sunrise. Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, Shirley Temple, John F. Kennedy, Rudolph Valentino, Sonny Bono, Dinah Shore. They all left their mark on this strange little desert oasis. And that's what makes Palm Springs so fascinating, because beneath the sunshine, luxury, and palm trees was another world. A world of fame, power, romance, parties, scandals, and secrets. Some of those secrets became history. Others may never be revealed.